Hello and welcome again to another Matura Express English stream. Today we're gonna talk about a very crucial topic, the present tenses. My name is Chris and be continued. Hello guys and girls, as I've already told you in the introduction of this stream, today we're gonna talk about using the present tenses. Very important topic, of course, as with every topic in this stream, but tenses are, I think, the most crucial things and the most confusing things for students. Therefore, we gonna look at the present tenses today, and especially we gonna focus on those 8 points. So we're gonna start off with the different present tenses, so which tenses are there, and then we gonna have a quick overview of present simple, an overview of the present progressive, which is also sometimes called present continuous or present, what's the other name? Progressive, continuous, and I forgot about it. Ing form sometimes, yeah, it's called the ing form sometimes. So don't get confused with those terms, it's just different terms used for the same thing. I know it doesn't make any sense, but yeah, that's how it is. Then we do a simple a demonstration of simple versus progressive, so that you have the opportunity to guess with me which we can use, which aspect we can use. So the aspect is simple or progressive. Then overview of present perfect and present perfect continuous. Oh, I wrote continuous there, so progressive, yeah. It's the same. I should have kept it the same way so that you don't get confused that easily. But then we're gonna continue with the demonstration of present perfect simple versus continuous or progressive or ing form, and then demonstration using the present tenses in an exam. This will happen just, I came up with certain sentences you could use in the introduction or in the monologue part or the dialogue part in the exam. We're gonna start off with a short overview of the present tenses that are out there. Basically, we have the present simple. Example, Julia drinks coffee every day. Then we have the present progressive. Julia is drinking coffee. And we're gonna have a look at the detailed explanation in a few minutes, of course. Then the present perfect simple and the present perfect progressive. And what I forgot here, you can also use the present simple and present progressive. They can also be used for the the future or for future, yeah, as future tense or part of the future tense. Future tense, or to indicate future arrangements or schedules in this case. But we're gonna look at first we're gonna have a look at the present simple. And we're gonna also have a look at the future tense in combination with present simple. But at first we're gonna start off with the present simple. So present simple is used to describe things which, it should be which, not with. So things, I hope I can write it. I forgot. Something is missing. Thank you, Maria. Which, which are generally true. So we're gonna look at those things in the example section. Then facts, permanent situations, regular or repeated actions, and give directions. Basically, it should. Today I'm not that good. It's called giving directions. So, giving directions. So turn at the left, go straight ahead. You all know that what giving directions is. So Wegbeschreibung. I've listed several examples here. So a thing that is not generally true, but it is a fact that water boils at 100 degrees. So boils is the simple aspect of the present simple. So when I speak about the aspect of the tense, there are only two aspects, either simple or continuous, or progressive or inform. So the aspect is always either simple or continuous. So just to don't confuse you. Water boils at 100 degrees. It's a fact. In our pressure level, water boils at 100 degrees. Then things that are repeated or regular actions is, for example, the library opens at 8 in the morning. Every day it opens at 8 in the morning. That's a fixed thing that's, it opens at 8 in the morning. So regular or repeated actions, or just, things that are always the same way. So I usually go out on weekends. That's also a regular or repeated action. And in this case, it's used with an adverb of frequency. We have several adverbs of frequency, but I haven't listed them here because I didn't want you to confuse you that you don't have that much input. So adverbs of frequency are usually, normally, repeatedly. Normally they go with present simple. So in this case, I usually go out. So go is the verb here. Go out on weekends. Actually, it's a phrasal verb. Then we have another sentence. Germans drink a lot of beer, while the French drink more wine. Of course, it's an example sentence, and you could argue that that's not true. But in this case, we're just pretending that's true, and that's a fact or a thing that's generally true. Therefore, we use the simple aspect, drink, in the verb. Yeah. And another important thing, if you're waiting for the bus and the bus approaches you, that's the bus, and you want to tell people that the bus is approaching, you formulate it as follows: there comes the bus, or there leaves the bus, and so on. Simple aspect, that's just a thing you should remember. There comes the bus, there comes the car, there comes Maria, for example. Hi. Yeah, that's basically the present simple. For example, I just want to add something. Just remember, present simple is always if you're doing things, for example, you're taking your car every day. No, not you're taking your car. For example, you drive to work by car. So you drive to work by car every day. And every day is the indicator here, which needs a simple aspect. Very simple to remember. And yeah, we're gonna move on to a more advanced level now, which is present progressive or continuous or inform. I think it's easier to remember maybe for you. Inform. Just so that you don't get confused, because there is the in, as with here. So basically the so-called progressive or inform is used for temporary situations or actions in progress at the time of speaking. So I am speaking to you. That's what I'm doing right now. So that's an action that happens around the time of speaking. The important thing is that the emphasis is on the action, and if someone uses the continuous, progressive or the inform, it emphasizes, or it can emphasize a certain, that for example something has happened that a person doesn't normally do. So for example, you normally drive to work by car, but today you're taking the bus. So that's something out of the ordinary, and then the continuous is used. Another example, or another thing you might want to remember, is there is also special form or a special aspect of the progressive is if you want to express annoyance, the ing form, progressive or continuous, can be used. And especially important is that it's also used with a adverb of frequency, in this case always. And there is the ing form, or the ing added to the verb, to the end of the verb. In this case, it expresses annoyance. The person is really annoyed that he or she, in this case he, is always watching television. And if you pronounce it this way, it makes more sense. He's always doing this or that. He's always screaming at me, for example. Yeah, that's the thing. That's how we can express annoyance with the help of the present progressive and a verb of frequency such as always. If we want to describe pictures, we also use the present progressive, continuous or inform. The person standing right next to me is Peter. The person on the left, or the person that is sitting in the lawn, on the lawn, is called Maria, for example. I'm sorry, Maria.
Right.
And of course, we have a very common thing that is used in teaching grammar, I think, is when we have actions that form the background. For example, have I written it down here? No, so I'm gonna quickly write it. So he is walking on the moon and then, how should we continue the sentence? He's walking on the moon when no, not when.
What do you want?
What?
What do you want? What sentence do you want?
I want just a simple example now. He's walking, so I want to combine it with present and simple, but I can't think of a good example now. He's walking on the moon, and then basically it's normally in the past.
It's in the past. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's in the past. Yeah, I forgot it.
You mean he was walking on the moon when
Yeah. So that's normally, I'm sorry, I messed this up. I was in the past there. So forget about this.
It's an outlook to the next stream about the past. So.
Yeah, we have that with the past. So forget this. I was with the wrong tense. So doesn't matter. We're gonna continue either way. And I've written down some tasty explanations, or examples, not explanations, of how to use the progressive, or how to best use the expressive progressive. The students are currently studying the writings of Marx, not Mark. So in this case, we have R because it's a plural. But the important thing is here, and currently, since currently indicates that it's a temporary situation, which we can find here. We all already defined. So this goes here. Very easy. So Stephen is not here at the moment. He is working. So he's not here. He's working. And thing he's doing, working in this case, is happening right now, and therefore he can't be here. Here again, the ing form, and then I've added another example. So we could say the world's population is increasing at the moment. We don't know how long it will increase, but at the moment the world's population is increasing, and it also might decrease in the future, but in this case it's the focus on the time of speaking, so current temporary situation. The sun is shining, the same thing of again, let's go outside, the sun is shining, or it's raining, let's put on our raincoats and dance in the rain, or something like that. So it's very easy. I hope that it's very easy for you to remember this with the help of those example sentences. And then there's another thing that's a bit more complex, but if you get the aspect of, for example, the not the aspect, the essence of the first sentence we've discussed about the students are currently studying writings of Marx, then you're gonna understand the sentence at the very bottom here. She is feeding the snake while we are on holiday. In this case, it is a repeated action somehow, the feeding, since I think the cat needs feeding more often than just one time. But it happens within that certain time frame. So it's something out of the odds, nothing that is regular actually. There is a limited time, of course. And while they're on holiday, she is feeding the cat. That is actually an explanation of the background thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you'll get it. It's very important here, the feeding. If you get the meaning out of it, because this sentence, I think, helps you best to understand how it works. It's a temporary thing. Now we're gonna move on to the present progressive. Oh no, that's the next slide. I'm sorry. The present tense is for the future. So I've mentioned it in the beginning, and basically you can use the progressive and the simple present tense for future arrangements and fixed events. So the progressive or ing form, you can use things that are already decided and arranged. So I'm meeting her tomorrow at 9 o'clock. We are streaming on 7 p.m. on Wednesday, or next week on Wednesday. So we're seeing, for example, I'm having dinner with my girlfriend on Friday. That is already arranged. So what does it mean? Arranged. You might have, no, not you might have, you have already made a reservation in a restaurant, for example. And therefore you use the ing form with the verb have in this case. We're seeing a play at the theater next week. Here the ing form is used with the verb see. What happened there? They are just right here. Tickets already bought or reserved. Yes, so it's super fixed. And then the simple aspect for the future. For example, you have a flight that is scheduled at 12. You can just say my plane leaves at 12. In this case, simple leaves And the repairs are due to start on 24th November. Start, due to start, already scheduled. So timetables, just remember it with timetables, future events, or schedules even. Yes. Okay, so now we're moving on to the slide that it's very important. Simple or progressive? That's a big question here. And do we have any visitors or viewers in our stream?
No comments, no.
Okay, no comments. Either way. No. Okay. We're gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Or Maria and we're just because we like to do it. No, I'm gonna do it either way. So I've prepared this in this slide. It's like this. In the other slide, I've just written down the sentences with the tense already in there. So, Die Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam houses the biggest collection, or is housing? No, it houses, since it is not currently housing the biggest collection of Van Gogh's art. It houses, since it's effect. And we are trying out a new type of sports at the moment. Oh no, there's an indicator here. Indicator alert. At the moment. So which tense are we supposed to use? That's right. They are trying out a new type of sports at the moment. He takes or he's taking the bus every morning. Very easy. Of course, he takes the bus every morning. Temperatures around the world are increasing or increase. Of course, it could also be effect. In this case, we're gonna choose or gonna pick are increasing, since we're gonna want just maybe at the moment, and it's super clear cut, then nobody can argue with me. And the next thing is also very clear cut. Normally she listens or is listening to ABBA, but today she is listening or listens to Led Zeppelin. Normally indicator alert. Normally is also an indicator here, which helps us to identify the aspect of the first verb we want to find out. Normally she listens to ABBA, but today she does something very, very different, not difficult, since she decided to listen to Led Zeppelin, but since it's different from her normal things she is listening to Zeppelin. And of course, Led Zeppelin is one of the greatest rock bands. The river Danube flows or is flowing into the Black Sea. Is the river Danube at the moment flowing or generally? That's right, it generally flows into the Black Sea. Very easy. And now we have the most hated tense in the grammar, English grammar world? Present perfect. So what you need to do to understand this tense is that we use this tense to talk about situations that started in the past, and are still continuing in the present, or have just stopped. It is more difficult, but we explain it in a simple way.
You can draw a timeline, maybe?
Yes, that's my timeline. So that's a timeline. And that's now. So normally it's this way. That's the time. But it can also continue up until here. But normally we're gonna do it that it stops here and now, or just before now. And the thing, or the most important thing to remember it, especially when it comes to okay, it's simple. I'm sorry, it should be simple. When it comes to simple versus progressive, we're gonna focus on the simple. We're gonna lay the focus on the result of something. Since the first explanation up there also can be used with the continuous. But let's focus on completed action, maybe, or the result of something. Connection to now. You have a connection to now, and therefore it's called present perfect. It started in the past. It ended in the present. It has an effect in the present situation we're now. And normally we can use it with how much, how many times we have done something, or how much books we've read, or how many
times we visited Rome.
Times we visited Rome. Thank you. Yeah, as with those example sentences. Here, have you ever been to Greece? Have and been, of course, in this case, been is the past participle of the verb be. Yes, thank you. I'm not gonna write it down. I have never been to Iceland. So never in your whole life, since you have been born, since you were born, you have never been to Iceland. In this whole time frame, no, it's better. In this whole time frame, you have never been to Iceland. But you might have been to Rome 3 times, or you might have read 30 pages in the last 2 hours. So it's always try to remember it this way, then it's not that confusing if it comes to the continuous aspect of the present perfect. And of course, it hasn't rained this week. It isn't finished at the time of speaking, so it could still rain, but until now it hasn't rained. So it's from, in this case, it's the week week starts on Monday. Maybe it's Wednesday, as today. It hasn't rained this week, which is true, actually.
Yeah, it is. Good example.
Yeah. I've never played tennis in my life, which is also true.
You haven't?
No, no, yeah. Never in my life have I played tennis. Ha! Yes, and with this game, here, played, of course, the past participle. I think it is more important to understand this concept I've outlined here with, you can also use it with today, for example. Today, that's today, whole of today, and we're now here, for example. So that's, let's do it the other way. That's today. And we're here now. So now it's 7 something. 7:40, and maybe, yeah, I haven't eaten today. I haven't eaten anything today, which is not true, but of course there is still the possibility that I might be eating something. Yes, but since dawn I haven't eaten something. I think that's really good. How I explain it? No. Just focus on this, and of course you need to know how to form it. But if you use the present perfect, simple, then you will know how to form it. And the formation things of the tenses is something that you have to learn once, and I think it confuses students somehow. Since there's a lot of grammar in it, or connected to it, and it can be taught in another way. It's my thing and my hope that I'm gonna be able to explain it to you without explaining too much grammar to it, since I don't want to be a boring grammar stream. Yes, so now we have the present perfect, continuous, progressive, or ing. And there's always the 1,000. Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Never mind.
Progressive should, yeah, it's okay, I think. That's an R. It's not unreadable now, okay. Okay. Progressive. Used to describe actions that have recently stopped. It has been raining, for example. It's already listed down there. Actions that began in the past and are still happening. So you might now encounter that there are similarities to the simple, but if we focus on either the action or the result, we can differentiate between those. And remember, with the simple, we had the focus on the results. and we don't care, let's go back. Focus on the result of something. In this case, we don't have a focus on the result. We have the focus on the action. Have I wrote it down actually? So I'm gonna write it here. Focus on action. And this, of course, goes hand in hand with this. How long? How long is an action? And with the simple, we had how much, how many times, how many. So try to best differentiate between those two aspects. So we have either action or result. The result is with the present simple, present perfect simple, and the action is with present perfect continuous. And why do we focus on the action? Since it's the progressive aspect. And as we've discussed it in the beginning of the streams, simply progressive focuses on the action. So it has been raining. Focus on the action. The ground is still wet. So of course in this case it's not raining anymore, but yeah. We're using the ing form here. So there's the ing, has and been. Of course, he, she, it. We use the s. That's a really obvious thing. Therefore, there's has and not have. It has been raining. Or it has been raining for 2 hours. And it's still raining in this case. And there you focus on the action of the raining. So you don't, there's no, you don't worry about it if it has a result or something. And I've been feeling very well recently or lately or something, are also again verbs of frequency, which we had in the progressive present progressive, and it is focusing on the action or on the time frame of recently. So he has been feeling very well recently, which of course has started in the past. Always think about it. Yeah, that's basically it about the present perfect continuous. But now I'm gonna show you some example sentences. In this case, just written them down in the form they are, so we don't have to do the guessing game again. Peter's clothes are covered in paint. He has been painting the ceiling. In this case, no. I'm gonna do the next sentence and I'm gonna tell you the difference. The ceiling was white. Now it's red. She has painted the ceiling. The difference here is, in the first sentence, he has been painting the ceiling. The focus is on the action that he has been painting the ceiling, and therefore the first sentence here is kind of a evidence that he has been painting the ceiling. So focus is on the painting. it doesn't mean that he or she, in this case he, has finished the painting of the ceiling. In the second case, second sentence, so these are two belong together, A and B. In this case, has painted the ceiling, which means he is finished with painting the ceiling. So it was white and now it's red. He's done painting the ceiling. So he has painted the ceiling. He has started in both situations. He or she has started. No, let's do it. Started in the past. Past. Now he is painting, but he's not finished, so he has to paint. Still paint. And in the other case, there's the now, and there's the past. He started in the past, of course, but he has finished with his task. And another sentence. Marcus, so the two sentences actually that I've, the first two here are actually so-called like indicators that help you to understand why both can be used here or how we can use it differently. That affects meaning, of course. So Marcus is reading a book currently, and he started 2 hours ago, and he is on page 56. So, you already know. 2 hours ago, he started, and now we're here with 56 pages. So you could either focus on the action. He has been reading for 2 hours now. For 2 hours, here's the ing. Or the number of pages he has read. In this case, we can put it like this. He has read 56 pages so far. Of course, here is the simple aspect, and there is the ing form. And of course, this goes with the next example. He has directed 6 feature films so far. The number of films he has directed, very clear cut, I think, has directed. And direction. I'm sorry. Direction films. Interesting. Directing. Yes. He has been directing films since 1978, which also indicates that he is still alive, and he might direct more films, or it is the focus on the directing. So keep this in mind when it comes to simple versus progressive aspect with the present perfect. And of course, what have you been doing since we last met? It focuses on the action he or she has been doing the last time they met. Yes, that's about it with the demonstration for for present perfect or present perfect continuous. And now we're going to move on to the last slide of today, which is about the usage for the for your demonstration, not demonstration, for your oral exam. How you can use, or why should you use, I'm not actually, yeah, here. Yeah. Why you should use those tenses we spoke about, the present tenses. So, for example, you can use it in your introduction, of course. Very easy to integrate it in this part of the oral exam. I have been learning English for 2 years now. The focus is on the action, learning for 2 years now. You're still learning English, of course, but until now you have been learning English for 2 years. The other example, I've worked for 2 big companies, focuses on how many companies you have worked so far. Then the next sentence, since I was 12 years old, I've always wanted to become a teacher. Very important here, those are the typical present perfect simple example sentences, but be careful that if you use since I was, it's not since I have been. So be sure to use the past here. That's very important. Just that you know and don't make that mistake ever again. Then, of course, since I was 12 years old, I've always wanted to become a teacher. Until now, I've always wanted to become a teacher. And I study every day for 2 hours is, of course, not present perfect, but simple. Present simple. Then I'm currently working. Again, frequency adverb, alert. Working at the library. Then with the monologue and dialogue, there is a lot of things you should talk about and can talk about, but I've come up with only 4 sentences that might help you. For example, sales have increased by 2% since 1987. So, since 1987. Oh no, let's do it the other way. Since 1987. That's now. And now we have 2018. Sales have increased by 2%. Yes. Or sales have been decreasing lately. So it might have started. Okay, I should have added the starting point, but they have been decreasing recently, and that's the focus on the action. Maybe it might be different in a few weeks or in a few days. Then, environmental pollutions has... What? Environmental pollution has become a problem over the years, so it has become since a unspecified point of times, it has gradually become a problem over the years. And last but not least, tourism in Tyrol is still increasing. So at the moment it's still increasing. Yes. So maybe to keep it apart from this sentence from this sentence, you might since 1920 sales have been decreasing.
You have to move your head.
My head. And we should, yeah. So it might continue. The focus is on the action. Yes. That's all about the tenses from now, for today, not from now. And I hope that it helped you to differentiate certain things with the tenses and help you to understand it in a better way. Yes, see you on Monday. Yes, and have a good evening. Bye bye.